right, we are live.
Excellent. Okay, it is 7:01 on April 21st, 2021. My name is Robert Cagnetta, and this is the meeting of the South Kingstown, Rhode Island Zoning Board of Review. Members present tonight are Thomas Daniels, Richard Jerzak, Bill Rosen, Casey Charkowick, and a new member, Susan Walsh, who was our first alternate. Also present are Jamie Gorman, South Kingstown Zoning Building Official, Amy Goins, our South Kingstown Legal Counsel, and Jessica Spence, Administrative Support Associate. This board is made up of 7 people, and 5 are tonight 6 people, and 5 are regular voting members. 5 members are required to be present to vote. In the event that one of the 5 regular members is not present, the alternate will step in. The alternate obviously has an opportunity to speak, but will not vote. Tonight, the voting members will be myself, Mr. Daniels, Mr. Jerzak, Mr. Rosen, Mr. Charkowick are the voting members. And applicants are here either for a variance, dimensional, or use, or to seek a special use permit. This board is a quasi-judicial body created by South Kingstown ordinance pursuant to state statutes. We don't follow strict rules of evidence, and we operate in what we believe to be in a fair and equitable manner. We try to let everyone speak unless they get carried away or it is determined not to be relevant. So in the interest of time, please try to be brief and on the point relative to what you're presenting. We do our best not to argue. We keep things civil, and we try to have the last petition start by 10 o'clock. When your petition is called, please come forward and clearly state your name and then spell it for the record. Please speak clearly so we can all hear you. You will then be asked to take an oath to tell the truth, and you can present your petition along with any other witnesses in support. The board will then ask you or your witnesses questions. After the petitioner has presented their testimony, anyone else with questions about the application or wanting to support or oppose the petition will then be asked to come forward, and we'll let you know in a minute how to do that. You will identify yourself and be sworn in, present your testimony, which may be followed up by questions by the board. Please, please, please do not direct any questions to the petitioner or any other witnesses. The board will help direct those appropriately. We will allow the petitioner to ask questions raised by the audience and the respondents after the comment period. After hearing all the testimony and before a vote is taken, board members will then be asked to openly discuss the evidence presented. And so you're aware, variances or special use permits require 4 out of 5 voting members to vote in favor of the petition for granting of the requested relief. Board members will ask a lot of these questions for good reason. We cannot grant anything we choose. There are rules to support following South Kingstown's ordinance. You must give testimony to support certain facts to allow your request to be approved. Tonight, we have some dimensional variances and special use permits on the agenda. For variances, you must offer evidence to the board setting forth the following: that your hardship is due to unique characteristics of the subject land or structure and is not due to the general characteristics of the surrounding area. The hardship is not the result of any prior action on your part, that the granting of the variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area. The relief requested is the relief release necessary, and that you must show the hardship that will be suffered if this variance is not granted will amount to more than a mere inconvenience. For special use permits, you have to present the following: that you're requesting one is specifically authorized by our zoning ordinance. Somewhere in the zoning ordinance, it has to be authorized to be used in that area, or else we do not have the power to grant it. The special use permit requested meets all the criteria set forth in the zoning ordinance authorized for each special use. And the granting of this special use permit will not alter the general characteristic of the surrounding area or impair the purpose or the intent of the zoning ordinance. And Jessica, can you help folks know how they make themselves known?
Sure. So just a couple things. So all the applicants, I'm going to have you remain muted, and I'm going to turn your video off until your petition is called. Then once your petition is called, we'll ask you to turn your video on and unmute yourself. After you have given all of your testimony, excuse me for 1 second. I'm sorry. Let me let my dog out. Sorry. I'm very sorry about that. So once all of the testimony has been given, anyone who is in the audience, who is an attendee who wishes to speak, can raise their hand. If they're calling in by phone, it is *9 to raise your hand and *6 to mute and unmute. And if you're on your computer, there's the raise hand function. People will be called in the order that their hand is raised. A couple other things to keep in mind. There is a question and answer function. We only use that for technical issues. No questions regarding any of the zoning petitions will be answered in that format. And lastly, all of the information that is going to be presented tonight that the board received is available online at southkingstownri.com under building and zoning and current zoning applications. So if anyone wants to see anything that is presented or was presented, can look there. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay. So if there isn't any other anything else, we can get started. Do you want to start with the continuation of the petition of Arthur H. Parmentier for the withdrawal?
That would be fine, but before we do have someone in the audience who just raised their hand, so I just want to see if they have a question about the proceedings.
Sure.
Sabrina, you can unmute.
Unmute. Hi, this is actually Stephanie Hansen. My computer, I can't hear you guys on that computer, so I'm on another one, and I'm not sure.
Okay.
I guess so. I can't see you, so I am here.
All right, I'm going to rename this to you so that way when your petition is called, we'll see you.
Okay.
Okay,
Great. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Is that it?
I think we're good to go now.
Excellent. So why don't we start with the second petition? It was submitted by Partridge and Snow and Hahn. This is for the continuation of the petition of Arthur H. Parmentier. Do I have to read the whole thing if they're withdrawing?
This is Amy. You can just note the applicant's name, which you've done, and the property address.
Okay, and I probably said the last name wrong. Parmentier? Of the address, 15 Tomahawk Trail, South Kingstown, Assessor's Map 34-2, Lot 178, and is zoned in R20. We have a letter from Partridge, Snow and Hahn dated March 22nd, 2021. Mr. Cagnetta, this office represents the Prout School and the Roman.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, Jess.
You are doing the Prout School. Attorney
Oh,
Kenyon is
sorry.
for Parmentier.
Sorry, yep, that's the 1 year extension. Excuse me. Do you have that open, Jessica?
I can bring it up. Attorney Kenyon is also present.
Okay, Mr. Kenyon. Do you want to explain this rather than me reading the wrong one?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Welcome aboard, Susan. My name's John Kenyon. I'm attorney for the applicants on this matter. We submitted a letter withdrawing the application, would request that that be done without prejudice. And Mr. Chairman, I see Eugene in the screen, wondering if I suddenly started working for his law firm, but that's not the case.
Sorry about that. Well, you never know. Well, okay, so withdrawn without prejudice. So can we get a motion to do so?
There's no, this is Amy. You don't need a motion on this. It's the applicant's right to withdraw it themselves and it's normally without prejudice. That's the default. So you can just note that for the record, it's been withdrawn.
Oh, great. It has been withdrawn. Thank you very much, Mr. Kenyon.
Thank you.
Okay. So next on the agenda, we have the Prout School, care of David Estes. 4640 Tower Hill Road, Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879. They request a one-year dimensional variance extension under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking a one-year extension for the existing dimensional variance granted April 29th, 2020 to install a synthetic turf field with athletic lighting and scoreboard. The lot size is 24.81 acres. The dimensional variance by extended per zoning ordinance, Section 910, expiration of variances and special use permits, and Section 907, standards of relief. Landowner is Roman Catholic Bishop of Providence for premises located at 4640 Tower Hill Road, South Kingstown. Assessors map 50-4, lot 19, and is zoned GI, government and institutional. Who is here for this tonight?
Sure. Gene Bernardo here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, and David Estes, the principal of the school, is also here in case any questions are needed to be answered. Per my letter which I sent to the board, which you started to read, Mr. Chairman, a little bit earlier, this is a request for a one-year extension of the variance, what was given last year. And the reasons for the one-year extension is just that it's the COVID pandemic sort of disrupted their plan, and they plan to move swiftly, but they just need the one-year extension, which under Section 910A of the ordinance is available. If required, if anybody on the board has any questions, the principal is here, but it's a pretty straightforward request.
And Mr. Bernardo, a one-year extension is enough time for them?
It should be. I mean, if we run into any issues, we'd come back pursuant to the ordinance, but we do think the one-year extension will be sufficient.
Okay, great. Any board members' questions on this petition?
I have one, Mr. Chairman, Tom
Yes,
Daniels.
sir.
Is this primarily a financial situation?
I can go ahead. I think COVID did hamper some of our fundraising efforts, not doing live events and so forth. But, we feel pretty confident that within the next few months, we'll make up the gap that we need to begin construction. But we can't guarantee we're going to be able to build within the timeline of the 1 year, which is why we are seeking the extension.
Okay, just curious, do you have a commitment from the diocese on funding?
Well, the diocese, the bishop himself has made a pledge to the field, but this is done through a capital campaign run through the Prout Schools Institutional Advancement Office. I can certainly say the diocese has been very supportive. The bishop did make a gift of $100,000 himself towards the effort, but they do expect that the Prout School earns a requisite amount of money to be able to do this themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Board members, any other questions for the applicants? No. Mr. Bernardo, is there anything else you'd like to add, or?
No, thank you.
Okay. Jessica, is there anyone out there that has raised their hand or would like to raise their hand on this matter?
No one has.
Board members, any thoughts?
Seems straightforward to me.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll move that the petition of the Prout School, care of David Estes of 4640 Tower Hill Road, Wakefield, Rhode Island, for a one-year dimensional variance extension be granted.
Okay. Motion is made by Mr. Rosen. Can I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Charkowik. Any discussion?
Mr. Rosen, this is Amy. Can you just amend your motion to include for cause shown?
Okay, so will do.
Excellent. Is there a second on that?
Will do. Go ahead.
I'll
Yes.
second the
Okay.
amendment.
Any other discussion? Nope. Okay. Mr. Rosen,
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik,
Aye.
Mr. Jurzak,
Aye.
Mr. Daniels,
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you very
you very
much.
much.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have the petition of Gashi, wow, Dalashi of 1150 Oakland Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island, 02920 for a special use permit under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking the approval of a special use permit to locate an on-site wastewater treatment system closer to a wetland than allowed. 150 feet is required, 15 feet is proposed. Relief of 35 feet is requested. The project previously received approval under the Conservation Commission's on January 5th, 2021. The lot size is 0.14 acres. The special use permit is required per zoning ordinance section 504.1, special use permits of OWTS, and section 907, standards of relief. The property is owned by Robert Person for premises located in South Kingstown. Approximate location is 60 feet north of pole number 5, Bow and Arrow Trail, assessors map 34-2, lot 33, and is zoned R20. Who's here tonight for this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, it's John Kenyon, attorney for the applicant.
Thank you.
The applicant's property is located on Bow and Arrow Trail North. It's designated as tax assessors plat 34-2, lot 33. The lot is 6,050 square feet in size, and it's in an R20 zoning district. The applicant is proposing the construction of a 2-bedroom, single-family residence with a 896 square foot footprint. The proposed house meets all the setback requirements and no dimensional relief is necessary. The house is proposed to be serviced by a new OWTS that has been approved by RIDEM.
Mhm.
There are no wetlands on the property, but there are wetlands across the street on adjoining property that would be located 115 feet from the wetland edge. We're here tonight for a special use permit under section 504.1 to locate an OWTS within 150 feet of a wetland. The proposal meets all the requirements under section 504.1 of the zoning ordinance, including the lot coverage requirement of 15% and the drainage being designed for a 25-year storm. As the chairman stated, the Conservation Commission gave a positive recommendation with 8 proposed conditions of approval, which we're in agreement with. In fact, one of those conditions was that we move the house, we relocate it to provide a larger setback to the southern line, and that has been done. Patrick Freeman from American Engineering prepared the plans, and I'm going to have him go over the existing conditions and the proposed WTS. Jess, if you could bring him in, please.
Hello.
Oh, Mr. Freeman, could you please spell your name for the record?
Sure. It's Patrick Freeman, Patrick. Freeman, Freeman.
And do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. Go ahead, Mr. Kenyon.
So, Mr. Freeman, where are you employed?
I'm employed with American Engineering.
And what are your duties there?
I'm a project manager
And how long have you been working there?
for 6.5 years.
And are you a registered professional engineer in the state of Rhode Island?
I am.
And how long have you been a registered engineer?
Almost 2 years now.
And do you hold any other registrations or licenses in Rhode Island?
I'm also a Class 3 outs designer.
And have you testified before zoning boards previously?
I have,
And in what capacity were you testifying?
as an expert in civil engineering.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that Mr. Freeman be recognized as an expert in civil engineering for tonight.
That's fine. Yes, Mr. Kenyon.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Freeman, are you familiar with the applicant's property located at Bow and Arrow Trail North, designated as tax assessors plat 34-2, 4-2, Lot 33?
I am.
And did your office prepare the site plan that was submitted with the application?
We did.
And what is the zoning for the lot?
R20.
And are you familiar with the existing uses surrounding the property?
I am. Sorry about that.
And what type of uses are in the general location of the applicant's property?
Residential.
And how big is the applicant's property?
6,050 square feet.
And can you describe the existing conditions of the property?
Sure. The property is located on the easterly side of Bow and Arrow Trail North. The existing ground cover is grass with some trees as shown on the site plans. The site slopes from the southeast corner to the northwest corner towards a freshwater swamp located off-site. There are existing utilities in Bow and Arrow Trail North that will be used for the proposed development.
And you stated that there are wetlands located off the property. Are there any located on the property?
No.
And were the off-site wetlands flagged by somebody?
Yes,
And who was that?
that was Scott Rabideau at NRS.
And are those wetlands shown on the site plan that was submitted?
They are.
And could you just briefly explain the type of wetlands that are in that location?
The biologist report defined them as a swamp.
And what is the applicant proposing to construct on the property?
To construct a dwelling, OWTS, rain garden, and driveway.
And how many bedrooms are they proposing?
2 bedrooms,
And how big is the proposed house?
28 by 32.
And does the proposed house meet the front, side, and rear yard setbacks under the zoning ordinance?
It does.
And does the proposed driveway provide adequate ingress and egress to the house?
It will.
And does it provide adequate area for parking for the proposed house?
It will.
And in your opinion, will the use of the proposed driveway negatively affect the traffic flow in that area?
It will not.
And does the proposed driveway provide adequate access in case of fire, emergency, or catastrophe?
It does.
And is there adequate area for trash storage on the property?
Yes.
And will the property be serviced by public water?
It will. We proposed a new water stop. The existing water stop is located in a wetland perimeter. So we proposed a new water stop outside of that to prevent any impact to the wetlands.
And do you see any issue with providing electrical service to the lot?
No, we also proposed an additional utility pole. The existing utilities don't go far enough down Bow and Arrow Trail North, so we need to put an additional utility pole in to provide service to that dwelling.
And is the applicant proposing any signage on the property?
No,
Will there be any non-residential exterior lighting?
no,
And has the applicant received approval from RIDM for the proposed OWTS?
they have.
And could you describe to the board what type of system you're proposing?
It's a Septitech M400 denitrification system discharging to a bottomless sand filter.
And where is the proposed system located on the lot?
It's in the southeasterly corner of the parcel.
And how did you come up with that location?
It's the furthest point on the site available from the wetlands.
And did DM approve the location being cited, the system being cited there?
They did.
And how far from the wetland edge is the system located?
115 feet.
And is that why we're here tonight requesting the special use permit to locate it within 150 feet of a wetland?
That is correct.
And in your opinion, is the proposed location as far from the wetland that the system could be located and still meet DEM's requirements?
Yes,
And did you test the water table in that location?
we did.
What were the results?
We got an 18-inch water table as well as a 19-inch water table.
And is the proposed system considered alternative technologies?
It is.
And what is the separation distance between the bottom of the leaching field and the seasonal high water table?
3 feet.
And section 504.8 of the zoning ordinance requires that the alternative technologies provide a certain level of treatment as measured at the outlet of the treatment unit prior to discharge to a drain field. Are you familiar with those requirements?
I am.
And does the proposed system have a minimum total nitrogen removal of 50%?
Yes,
And does the proposed system have a minimum nitrogen reduction to less than or equal to 19 milligrams per 1 total nitrogen?
it does.
And what is the total reduction in TSS and BOD for the system?
The system is proposed to reduce BOD and TSS to less than or equal to 20 milligrams per liter.
Thank you. And what is the minimum fecal coliform removal for the proposed system?
It's 1,000 MPN per 100 milliliters. MPN stands for most probable number.
And is there any potable water supply less than 100 feet from the drain field?
No,
And will the system require a continuous operation and maintenance agreement with the owner?
it will.
And will that be recorded in the land evidence records?
Yes,
And are you proposing any stormwater management for the property?
we are. We're proposing a rain garden.
And did your office prepare the engineer's narrative submitted with the application?
We did.
And did you supply the town with drainage calculations for 24-hour, 25-year storm?
That is correct.
And have you provided control measures to ensure that no net increase between pre and post-development site conditions and volume or rate of stormwater runoff for such a 24-hour, 25-year rainfall event occurs on the adjacent properties or roadways?
Yes,
And is there a minimum 15-foot horizontal separation distance between the OWTS drain field and the edge of any stormwater infiltration system?
that is correct.
And have you calculated the buildable area of the subject property?
Yes,
And what is that calculation?
it is 6,050 square feet.
And what is the proposed impervious coverage?
It would be 14.81%.
So that complies with the 15% requirement?
Yes, it does.
And in your professional opinion, has the OWTS been located as far as possible from the wetland edge?
Yes,
And has the house been located as far from the wetland edge while still maintaining the town's setback requirements?
yes,
Now, did the applicant receive a positive recommendation from the Conservation Commission?
they did.
And can you just briefly go through their recommendation and explain to the board what has been changed to comply with their proposed conditions?
Absolutely. Condition A was that the driveway be made pervious. We have proposed a crushed stone driveway. Condition B, that any roots encountered from the southerly lot must be cleanly pruned by an RI licensed arborist to avoid infection or infestation. We will provide that. The existing gravel road, Bow and Arrow Trail, will be continued with gravel up to the new driveway construction entrance of the property. We will improve that gravel road as necessary to provide access to the site. Condition D, that the setbacks from the north and south be reversed to have a larger setback on the southerly line. We did move the house accordingly. Condition E, that construction vehicles should not block access to the neighbor's dwelling. Construction vehicles should park on the applicant's site. Condition F, that the building should be constructed on slab foundation and not with a crawl space foundation to reduce disturbance and fill requirements. We still left the option for a crawl space due to the fact that using a slab wouldn't reduce the amount of disturbance for the site. You'd still have to dig footings. You'd still have to dig out and fill the interior of the foundation itself. And using a crawl space would actually reduce the fill requirements because you could have that slab at a lower elevation. That slab is located more than a foot above the seasonal high water table as well. Condition G, that the applicant should install a line of posts with signage along the perimeter wetland setback behind where the proposed trees are to be planted to demarcate the edge of the wetland perimeter boundary, indicating the presence of the wetland, which is not to be disturbed. We added a 4x4 post to the plan that would mark that 50-foot wetland perimeter. Condition H, that the proposed rain garden and bottomless sand filter be protected from construction, vehicles, and traffic. We added a note to the plan stating that before construction starts, that we would mark the edges of those areas to prevent any vehicular compaction. And that was their last comment.
Thank you. And in your professional opinion, if the system is constructed and maintained to the required specifications, will the location of the OWTS within 150 feet of the wetland have any adverse impact on the wetlands?
It will not.
Will it have any negative impacts on the surrounding properties?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions. If the board has any questions.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Jurzak.
yeah, I just have a couple of questions. I guess excuse my ignorance on the, Mr. Friedman, with regard to the requirements of the Conservation Commission. Did you say you had no problem with any of them, or do you have a problem with the slab versus the crawl space?
I'm sorry, you're correct. I did mention that they wanted a slab, and I'm not entirely sure why. They were concerned about the water table, but the slab being above that water table, it wouldn't have an effect on that. So they were concerned about fill requirements, as well as disturbance to the site. I don't think that the having a proposed crawl space would affect those things negatively.
I'm still not sure you answered my question. Are you
Sure.
Is that requirement okay with you guys, or no? If we say we're going to make a motion to include all those requirements, that's one of the requirements. No. I mean, so you're not okay with that.
Not entirely. You're correct. Yes, that one condition I don't necessarily agree with.
Okay.
And I'm open to discuss it if you'd like.
All right. One other question, and then we'll look, I'm not a civil engineer, so I'm not sure that, how we would make a decision on that. But I'm confused a little bit, John, with regard to their requirement G. You stated that there were no wetlands on the property. So where are you marking the wetlands?
Patrick, you can correct me, but I think we're marking the 50-foot buffer of the wetlands.
That is correct.
Is that what that says?
Yes.
Okay,
So
indicate the presence of wetlands which are not to be disturbed.
I believe they meant the wetland perimeter. Let me.
They do say that at the
The
beginning.
applicant
wetland
should
perimeter.
install a line of posts and signage along the perimeter, wetland setback. Okay, so you're saying it's, explain me
Sure.
what you're saying then.
Sure.
You're not, so you're not really marking the wetlands, you're marking something else.
Correct. A 50-foot perimeter, which isn't the actual wetland edge. It's a 50-foot setback from the existing wetlands.
From the existing wetlands.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have to ask.
Thank you, sir. So I guess my concern is like that constructing this building, there's not a lot of how many vehicles can fit on the site at a time. I mean, plus you have equipment, so you have the disturbance areas surrounding the construction site in terms of equipment, right?
Sure. I would estimate you could fit about 4 pickup truck style pieces of equipment. It is a tight site, so as far as when construction and grading is taking place, the house won't be there necessarily, and you'd be able to access more of that site.
And the intent is not the bow and arrow trail, that is an easement. Is that the town? What is that?
It's a platted road.
Okay. So it's a town-owned road? It's not a private road?
It's not owned by the town. The association was given for the neighborhood was given the rights of the roads. In the association language, the Bow and Arrow Trail North is not specifically mentioned.
So when you say, when it's said in the Conservation Commission's recommendations that you're not parking, or you're parking on the property, so the intent is not to park on gravel or on Bow and Arrow Trail, rather, in front of not parking in front of the neighbors, and certainly not parking farther ahead, which would be actually in the wetlands.
Correct.
And that's possible with that building to sort of maintain sort of the, I mean, it does sound like that there's a lot of concern about movement. I mean, it is a fairly wet area. So it'll have to be a compact site is the concern. And I'm not sure how much more teeth could be put into it. Then, we certainly don't want the zoning official running out there because there are 5 vehicles bleeding out into the road. Board members, any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Tom,
Daniel.
just to follow up on my colleague, Mr. Jurzak's questioning. Mr. Freeman, in your opinion, if you do what you want to do instead of a slab, you're proposing a crawl space, I believe. Does it have any effect, in your opinion, on the OWTS?
No, it would not. The OWTS setbacks from a bottomless sand filter to a structure, you would have, I believe, a 15-foot setback if the slab was below the seasonal high water table, which it is not. It's a foot and I want to say 8 inches above.
Okay, with that testimony, I would think that it's irrelevant to what we're here to pass, which is the OWTS, the special use permit for the OWTS. But I guess that's a question that our legal counsel might enlighten me on.
This is Amy. Tom, what's the specific question?
The question is, the Conservation Commission has made a determination that the property should be on a slab.
Mm-hmm.
The engineer has testified that they don't agree with that. They want to put in a crawl space.
Mm-hmm.
And his testimony is that it would not affect the OWTS. And it seems to me that that's the only reason we're here, is to pass the OWTS. The rest of the recommendations are advisory, but immaterial to the OWTS if we have expert testimony that the crawl space would not affect the OWTS.
Yeah, he is an expert. You can certainly ask him to explain the answer in further detail. It is an advisory recommendation. You certainly can ask him to explain it in further detail, but he is the only expert before you at this time.
Okay, I'm good. I have his testimony, his expert testimony. I'm good.
And Mr. Freeman, in terms of slab versus crawl space, would there be any health or safety issues involved, one versus the other, in terms of it being an area that has some wetlands around it? Is there some risk of the crawl space becoming saturated or overwhelmed?
No, we did locate the slab above the seasonal high water table, so there shouldn't be any issues there. It's actually above existing grade in the area as we proposed it, so no concern there.
And you're not bringing any fill. It's a negative, or it's a net zero sort of net fill. What do they call it again?
It would require a small amount of fill within the actual foundation itself, but the site, the grading's minimal. Just to route water around the proposed development.
To managing it towards the stockpile area, or not stockpile area, the water garden rather.
Correct, the rain garden.
To shape the, okay, thank you, rain garden. I'll get there eventually. Because I don't even want to know how bad I butchered his name, Mr. Kenyon. But okay, any other questions for Mr. Freeman? Any other board members?
Yeah, one more question. Rick Jurzak here.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Friedman, would it affect the system if you put in a full foundation?
No, not at the setback that we have proposed, 20 feet. That would be fine. You're allowed to put.
No. So it wouldn't. So that's not relevant either. So it can be a slab, a crawl space, or a foundation, full foundation.
Correct.
Would still not affect the wetlands or the system failing or anything, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other board members, questions?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Freeman.
Sure. Mr. Rosen.
On the site plan, the wetlands are to the northwest, is that correct?
That is correct.
And they, on the site plan, you have some fancy stars there. That's 50 feet from the wetland perimeter, is that correct?
So those are actually coniferous trees that we're proposing to be planted there to provide buffering. There is a line on the other side of those proposed trees that would be the 50-foot perimeter wetland.
Okay. And during a rainstorm, I assume the proposed rain garden, which is to the southeast of that perimeter, the flow of water from the wetlands would be towards that rain garden, is that correct?
So the rain garden on the southeast, that's actually a rain garden proposed for the adjacent lot. That was something that during the DEM approval process, we had to show on our plan based on a proposal for that adjacent lot, lot 8, and maintain a 15-foot setback from that. The proposed rain garden for this lot is located in the northwest corner. All of the groundwater from the site is routed towards that rain garden, which then overflows towards the wetland area.
Oh, the flow then moves towards the wetlands? It doesn't move towards the OWTS?
That is correct.
Okay. So getting back to this discussion of the slab versus the crawl space, the flow of the water then not being towards the WTS would not necessarily flow towards the house or the slab itself, right?
That is correct. We've routed the water away from the dwelling as well as the outs, and routed it around the outside of the parcel while not spilling onto adjacent parcels, and directed it towards that rain garden.
One other question on this site plan, where is the leaching? Is there a leaching field with this, or is this completely contained within the OWTS?
The leaching field is the rectangle, the 10 by 18 foot rectangle in the southeast corner of the parcel. That is it's an above ground bottomless sand filter.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other board members' questions?
I guess just one quick question for Mr. Kenyon. Mr. Kenyon, is this latest, the survey that we have, that shows the that flip-flop of the setbacks on the sides? This is the most current plan?
Yes, it does, Mr. Jurczak. And I'd like to just clarify, because I was quite confused when I first got the plan, because they have the markings, which I consider wetland markings, actually in the behind the 50-foot perimeter wetland. So when you look at where the trees that Mr. Rosen was asking about, that's the 50-foot perimeter from the actual wetland, but it looks like it's marked as wetlands past that. So that's the wetlands are actually off the property, kind of across the street there. So they have the markings like I normally think of as wetland on that plan. Am I making any sense?
Yep.
Certainly.
And regarding the condition by the Conservation Commission, when they're reviewing the OWTS approvals, they do review things like drainage and the impact on the environment in general. And their concern, I believe, is that one kind of came at the end of the meeting. The concern was they were hoping that slab foundation would reduce disturbance in the fill requirements. And I think Mr. Freeman's testimony is that it doesn't actually do that in this case. So that's why we're looking to have that condition removed.
Got it. Okay, any other board members, questions of this witness?
Mr. Jurczak, did you get an answer to your question?
Yeah, I thought I did. Yeah, this is the proper this map is the current map that we
Yes.
have, right?
That's the current map. The house was realigned to provide more room from the property to the south.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there's 15 feet to the south. Is that correct?
There's 15, I believe 15 feet to the south and 12 feet to the north, and I believe the original plan was the opposite of that.
Okay. Just want to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, board members, any other questions? Okay. Mr. Kenyon, you have others that you wish to present?
Nope, the applicant is here tonight, but I wasn't going to have him testify if the board or the public have any questions.
Nope. Well, let's open it up and see if anyone does have any questions.
Yeah, we have Ann Farnsworth. I'm going to allow her to talk. And you just need to unmute yourself, Ann.
Good evening, Ann. Could you please state and spell your name for us?
Yes, my name is Ann Farnsworth. My first name is spelled A-N-N-E, last name F as in Frank, A-R, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, W-O-R-T-H.
Excellent. And do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Excellent. So please, what would you like to know? Or what would you like to say?
Well, my husband and I are owners of an adjoining property on the west side of Bow and Arrow Trail North. And I just had a few concerns that I wanted to bring up. And so my first concern is to the impact of the trail. The trail is very narrow, it's treed, and it has soft shoulders with natural growth. So we would object to any cutting of the growth on the trail that might lessen its character as well as its function, as it is a natural barrier for our property.
Sure. Well, they can certainly answer that, and I'm sure the engineer can. But I'm sure they're only allowed to create whatever access already exists, but we'll see if they'll have an answer to that. Mr. Freeman, do you have an answer as to what they're allowed to cut and where?
Yeah, so, and thank you. We're not proposing to do any cutting within Bow and Arrow Trail itself. We are proposing to bring the driveway in. It would be outside of that 50-foot perimeter. So as far as tree clearing goes, none would happen in the actual 50-foot perimeter itself. So no trimming would happen in there. And we are proposing some additional trees to increase that buffer for your property. But as far as the long Bow and Arrow Trail, we're not proposing to do any cutting of vegetation.
So explain that though. So you're talking about a buffer to the Farnsworth's property?
I don't know. And where is your property located?
So we're number 40 on your map, lot number 40. So we're right at there, the corner of Bow and Arrow and Indian Head Trail. So our address is 33 Indian Head Trail.
Yeah, so for lot 40, we won't be modifying any vegetation along the front of your property or in between.
Well, the side of my property is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yep.
Okay. So if I may share my second concern.
Sure.
So if construction is allowed to proceed, how will vehicles during the construction and in the future be prevented from driving past the limits of disturbance? When I walked back there to survey, where you had marked everything off, the level of disturbance, it seems like it's right there at the driveway, on the other side of the driveway. I'm just, it is a very tight space back there and narrow, and I'm just wondering what precautions are going to be put in place, to prevent people from driving, your construction trucks when you're out there clearing or whatever, past those limits.
And that's well, before you answer, Mr. Hanson, I mean, sure. That's what I was asking them before. Since they're not doing any cutting, they're technically not allowed to, they're not doing any disturbance outside the property itself. So it's not as if the construction itself can harm anything outside the property. But as to going forward, I guess it's hard for even any of the witnesses here to sort of suggest as to how it's maintained. I don't think there's any requirements of physical barriers or markings for the edges of the driveways.
So probably more of an honor system, would you say, of not driving past those markings?
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems to be a pretty sensitive area, so I think hopefully that the beaten path is pretty well defined and in the right location. I think if certainly it seems that it's off the designed plan, then perhaps our zoning, our building inspector can verify. But if it seems like it's off, that would your office, Jamie, go out there and determine if they're using the wrong location for egress or for the trail?
Relative to the driveway access, if the driveway.
Yeah, just if people start driving 30 feet to the west or something.
Yeah, I mean,
the located spot.
The location of the driveway is going to be, tied to the plan, the approved plan and the soil erosion permit. As for parking and driving on the private road, I think being privately owned, enforcement on that end would be difficult.
Okay. So it would be up to the association if it does exist, or whatever form it exists, would be sort of self-empowering.
Yeah, that's correct. It'd be like a civil matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So we're new to Rhode Island and we've bought here just a year ago. So what is the process though? If you see someone driving, if they're in that area, what is the process for reporting that or, preventing that from happening? What could I do as a neighbor or citizen to keep that area safe and clean?
I think it depends on when they actually are entering private lands, and the trail itself is part of that private land, right, Jamie? So I think it depends. I guess if you think people are trespassing, then it's a police matter.
Well, I'm talking more of the limits of disturbance when they go beyond that part. What is the process for handling that?
They're supposed to build exactly as it's designed on these plans, and these plans are available at the town hall. But they're only really allowed to disturb where it's marked on this plan. And I think, but after that is sort of the concern, I guess, and after it's built. But really, I don't think the building department has oversight to post construction per se.
I think, Chairman, if there's activities going on within the 50-foot perimeter of the wetland, that's enforcement on that end would be through DEM, their enforcement, but that would mainly be for maybe structures or excavation. I'm not sure if parking or that may be something that they have jurisdiction over and enforcement, but I think mainly any kind of land disturbance is what they would be looking at.
So I guess, Ms. Farnsworth, the bottom line is it's a little complicated.
It sounds that way.
And it just depends on what someone's doing. I think is then a matter of who you're contacting. But as helpful as Jamie and the building and department is being now, is they will answer your questions and call. So I would call and ask them if you do have concerns.
Okay.
About what's going on out there, and hopefully you can make a relationship with the neighbors and everybody kind of keep an eye out.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else, Jessica?
I have a John B. Needs to unmute.
John Bissett, aye.
John, could you please spell your name?
Bessette. John, of course.
All right, and do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. So, John, what do you have? What's your questions?
Okay, we're abutters. We're lot 32.
Okay.
So we attended the Conservation Commission. One of the quotes I like from that is, "When is a lot not buildable?" But moving on from that, I was wondering if any of the zoning boards have visited the lot, and members of the board.
I have, and it's a tough lot. I would agree. And we rely on the testimony of the experts presented to us to know the conditions of the site and what's possible on it.
Sure.
It's always tough for us to objectively say, oh, well, that's wrong if we don't have anyone else that sort of is telling us anything different. And we rely on the expertise of those in the Conservation Commission to talk about the impact to the environment. Because our responsibility is to say, okay, well, it's a special use permit, so we have to hit these certain criteria that aren't necessarily just environmental related, but impact to the surrounding area. So you're right. I think what may have been considered unbuildable years ago, even 10 years ago, has certainly changed just based on the technology. I mean, I remember starting 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was, when we were talking about the difference between some of the systems then and the septic systems that existed, and the difference of the impact was huge.
Sure, I have a sand filter myself.
Yeah, so it's tough. We're relying on the experts, and Mr. Freeman has been in front of this board before. So we understand that his experience allows him to make such statements of, that it's appropriate. So I mean, unless you have something that helps us understand something about the lot or
well, I have questions. I'm
Sure.
Well, we're abutters. We have two properties along Bow and Arrow Trail North, covering about 165 feet.
Mhm.
And when we built on this lot, we improved the road, put in a gravel bed 12 feet wide up to the end of our driveway, which was then the limits of disturbance. That was in 2007. It's just looking at the plan, as I believe actually you might have said something about this. Navigation appears severely constricted at the entry of the lot because of the limits of disturbance. We measured, and there's basically about on the I want to get this right, on the east side of the trail, there's about 20 feet or so of frontage bordering the trail. And then you have that angle of the limits of disturbance shown as it crosses the trail. As a result, I wonder if that radius is adequate for the types of vehicles that are going to be going in and out of there, especially the long construction vehicles. How they're going to make that turn without going into the wetland, which I believe it's shown on the thing that they're going to have hay bales or a silt fence there or something. Additionally, that area of the trail in front of lot 33 is extremely muddy and impassable for many months of the year due to the natural drainage, both from lot 33, which slopes into it, and also of the entire slope length of Bow and Arrow Trail North. And that results in stuck vehicles and calls for tow trucks that we've seen out there. And the gravel bed, they're going to extend it up to the limits of disturbance, so that will take care of part of that. But to me, it doesn't appear that any vehicle backing out of that driveway would have sufficient space to execute a wide turn to proceed forward up the trail. So wouldn't this require vehicles to back up the trail, presenting constant hazard to others? We experience this regularly ourselves after snowplow comes down and piles up snow at the end of our driveway. And my wife has enough room to get out and turn around, but I have to back out of the trail constantly. And it looks like that the way this is, if they're not going to enter into the wetland buffer, that there's going to be a lot of backing up.
So really, it's a matter of the understanding if that turn can actually be navigated by be it a vehicle, a normal vehicle, or even something with a trailer.
Yeah.
And I mean it. So okay. So Mr. Freeman, what about that pivot point, both on the corner of the property as well as the limits of disturbance? Is that adequate? Well, first of all, how is you described how that it is going to be prepared, but up to that limit of disturbance, the hay bales, you're going to have a processed sort of gravel area, like it's going to be prepared.
That is correct. Yeah, the road itself is going to be improved to whatever it needs to be for us to gain access, depending on the condition of it. That road will be improved, and the crushed stone entrance itself will provide access for the lot. That it won't be muddy once it's complete.
Okay. And what about that turn? I mean, what is that radius, or not just radius, but what is the width of that drive, assumed drive between the corner post and the limit of disturbance?
So the drive itself is 10 feet wide. We did provide a wide turnaround on the parcel itself. I don't know if you can see it. There's a lot of line work in that area, but you could pull in and turn around on the lot itself.
In the rain garden area, kind of?
Yeah, so in between the rain garden and the dwelling.
The stockpile area.
Yeah, so once the site's complete, you would be able to turn around in that area.
So the expectation is that spinning around will be happening on site?
Correct.
Does that answer your question, Mr. John?
What if the car's parked in the driveway?
Yeah, if you look at the driveway, the turnaround area, I don't see how a car could use it unless it was the only car in the driveway. If you pile up one or two cars, I don't see how anyone's going to be able to turn around there. It's going to be the same situation where you're going to have cars backing out of the driveway and up the trail.
Right.
There's just not enough room there to what happens if they have a party or something, like, where are all these cars going to go? But even if it's just a resident with, average is 2 cars, it doesn't look like there's enough room in there to navigate, to turn around, to go up and out. It really doesn't.
Right, to be able to.
If it was one car, no problem.
Mr. Freeman, I mean, you're saying that if there were 2 cars there, that someone would have the ability to navigate their way out without driving in the swamp?
I wouldn't say if you parked without planning, yeah, potentially, you would have to back out.
Is that common to the buildings, to all the homes?
No, it's a unique lot in that the entrance is narrow. You wouldn't be able to back out necessarily.
And what is that distance exactly from the corner post of the lot 32 and the area of limited disturbance? Is that like 20 feet, 15 feet?
Get you one moment. To the limit of disturbance. It's 18 feet.
And there are going to be hay bales during construction?
It would just be a silt fence, no hay bale. So 1x1 beanie with silt fence, a filter fabric connected to it. So it's a negligible width.
So 15 feet. You said, right?
18 from the corner of the property to the limit of disturbance.
That is pretty small. That's not 2 vehicles. So if somebody's got their butt right at the end of there, they can't really get out without someone traveling out. Okay. Any other questions, John? I mean, or is it, I mean, I don't know, how, did he answer it for you?
Yeah, he answered it. I can't see it happening, but now up to this point, we have assumed maintenance of Bow and Arrow Trail north up to the area of the water stop that's shown on the plan for lot 32. Now, I'm wondering going forward, what provisions can exist to determine a shared responsibility for its maintenance? I mean, who's going to be snow plowing? If it needs repair, who's going to be doing repairs? I mean, I realize it's a private road, and apparently no one we can find owns it. But it's
can let
not
me
the
speak
wild,
to
wild
that
west.
ownership,
And
John.
actually, I have my wife Jane is the president of the association, and they do not accept any responsibility for this private road, since they did a title search and came up.
This is Amy Goins, legal counsel. When this area was originally platted, typically the planning board would require a maintenance agreement for private right of ways.
Yeah.
Well, this is Jane Bissett. I can speak to this a little bit. Do I need to spell my name?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, it is Jane Bissett, Bessette.
And do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Okay, so please go ahead.
Okay, so I can speak to this a little bit. I have been on the Indian Lake Shores Fire District for numerous years, and I'm actually the current president of the fire district. And over the years, it has gone around with the fire district trying to establish ownership of Bow and Arrow Trail North. It is, I think, the only road within the fire district that has not been turned over to the town. At the time when we built, there had been no other dwellings here, so there really hadn't appeared to be a need to have the road ownership established. When we built, we were told by the fire district and also by the town of South Kingston that neither one accepted ownership or responsibility for the road. It is a private road that had been owned by South County Properties. And we did a title search at one point through the fire district, and no ownership was able to be established through that. So
Well,
this road is kind of in limbo.
Well, yeah, but we don't really have any, that doesn't really pertain to the application per se. It's to the ownership of the road and who has a responsibility for it.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but the town doesn't and the fire district does not.
I know, well, I wish I could help, but I'll be even less help
Okay.
with that. But yeah, I think that obviously is a concern of who maintains it. I have a private road myself, so I know that I have to take care of it for the people in the back as much as they have to take care of the front. So, but yeah, I'm not really sure what to say.
Yeah, it's.
But well, definitely, you guys. I mean, recognizing that turn is a concern. We'll see if any other board members have questions for either of the Bissetts.
Well, I have a question pertaining to the testimony of the Bissetts, and I think it's probably for Attorney Kenyon. There was testimony both from the Bissetts and earlier that this is association property. So my question is this an association, if you know, is it an association of record, or is it just a loose combination of landowners, do you know?
So, Mr. Daniels, I believe the situation is that there was a plat recorded many years ago. And many of the roads, or most of the roads in there, and the Mrs. Bissett can correct me if I'm wrong, have been taken over by the association. This particular section has not. So what we have is it's a platted road, so my client has the right to use it, maintain it, to fix it up so it's passable. But there's also and normally, as Amy stated earlier, normally you would have a private road that's developed now would have requirement that there be some type of association for maintenance. And when there isn't such a thing, then there's a civil requirement. So under civil law, anybody that is using that road to access their property, they have to help to maintain that road. So there is a civil requirement for maintenance.
All right, so basically this road is outside of any formal association.
Well, I'll defer to Mrs. Bissett. I haven't looked exactly into what the fire district maintains there, but I believe her testimony was that they did not maintain this part of the road.
That's correct, Mr. Kenyon.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Board members, any other questions for the Bissetts?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Rick Jurzak, may I ask Amy a question on this specific subject? Okay. Amy, I guess I'm a bit confused as to what our duty here is, okay? I'm looking at this thing and it would seem to me that 5041 specifically deals with what effect this on-site system will have on the wetlands, okay? I'm not sure what the ownership of the road or anything has to do with the relevance of our decision. Can you enlighten me on that? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. I agree with you. It is not relevant. It is certainly a concern for the neighbors.
Okay.
A legitimate concern, but it's not relevant to the board's review of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Jurzak. So, sorry to both John and Jane. Do you guys have any other questions relative?
No.
I do have one.
Sure.
Going forward, it appears as though there is no requirement for the rain garden to be maintained and no verification that is maintained going forward. So the property owner would have to be on their best behavior to maintain it. Is that correct?
That is correct, pretty much for all those types of systems. Yeah.
And I do have one other concern. Our neighbor to the north, who currently owns this property, Mr. Pearson, regularly mows this area into the limits of disturbance.
But that's not necessarily.
Okay, all right, then I'll leave it.
So, but if you have other concerns about disturbances to wetlands and such, it might be another jurisdiction, be it DEM or.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Just one quick question. Conservation Commission and the Zoning Board of Review, you both cite 504, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're both under the same rule, right? You can't look outside of it.
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
That's just seems weird. Why isn't there just one commission instead of two? I mean, it's like going over the same thing twice. Oh, sorry.
That's a whole nother board to bring up how to change that. So unfortunately not us, but thank you.
All right. Yeah, we're done. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Jessica, is there anyone else out there that has concerns, questions?
No one has raised their hand.
Okay. Mr. Kenyon, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we're all set. I would just to make note of Mr. Bissett's last comment there about the two boards. I think as this board knows, there is legislation to have these type of permits just lie with the state. So RIDM would issue a permit and there'd no longer be a requirement for coming to this zoning board or the Conservation Commission for this type of relief. A lot of times in these applications, because of the wetlands, you're also asking for some type of dimensional relief, in which case a lot of the issues that have been raised tonight do have some importance. But in this case, there is no requirement for dimensional relief. The lot, even though it's small, it doesn't have any actually wetlands on the lot, and the system's 115 feet away from the wetlands. DEM requires a 50-foot buffer, so we're well in excess of that. And as Mr. Freeman testified, we do meet all the requirements under section 504.1. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Board members, any thoughts on this?
Mr. Chairman, excuse me. I just
Sure.
want to make sure, I may have inadvertently bumped the Bissettes from the attendance. I do see that there is a John B. present who was there. I just want to make sure it's him, that I haven't cut them off completely so they can hear everything.
Okay, sure.
So I'm going to allow this John B. to talk.
Mhm.
If you could just verify that it is you still.
Yep, we're back.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure you're still able to hear all testimonies. I think I inadvertently bumped you out before on the other one.
Well, I never.
Yeah, she's like that. You gotta watch out.
All right, we're good then.
So, okay, board members, any thoughts on this? Anyone have any concerns?
I'll go, Tom Daniels. I don't have any concerns. I think Mr. Jurzak summed it up. I mean, we're here to decide on a special use permit for the OWTS. We have testimony that the conditions -1 of the Conservation Commission are fine and intend to be complied with by the expert. So I would have no problem with it. I think we should include the excuse me, the 7 conditions of the Conservation Commission when we get to that point, and eliminate the F exception, F, which is the slab, and the contention was that that is not liable to be complied with. So I would eliminate that. And other than that, I have no problem with the application.
Okay. Mr. Jurzak, you okay with all this?
Fine.
Okay. Mr. Charkowik? Good.
Yeah.
Mr. Rosen, you're okay?
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
And Ms. Walsh, you're still with us?
Yes.
Okay, then you have any
I'm
questions?
trying out a computer, and if
I know.
it goes, I have an iPad as my backup, but I see it's going to take all the power of my iPad Plus to sit in on these meetings.
Yeah, probably. But everything makes sense to you? You don't have any questions? You're okay? Okay, great.
Oh, I have a lot of questions, but I'll bring those up to Jessica later.
Great. We like that. She might hang up on you though.
She will. I'll visit her instead.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion on this?
Sure.
Okay,
This,
Mr. Jurzak.
Rick Jurzak here. Having a name Jurzak, I'm allowed to butcher a name, so I'm going to do that, okay? I make a motion to approve the petition of Gashi Daulat Sashi. Sorry, sir, but this is in regard to property located at, let's see, 60 feet north of pole number 5, Bow and Arrow Trail, Assessor's Map 34-2, Lot 33. Okay. The applicant is seeking the approval of a special use permit to locate an on-site wastewater treatment system, okay, closer to a wetlands. The allowed 150 feet is required. They're asking for it to be located 115 feet. Okay. Mr. Kenyon, Attorney Kenyon, represented the applicant and spoke to what the petition was asking for today. He introduced as a witness Patrick Friedman, okay, who's a registered professional engineer, and Mr. Friedman was qualified as an expert here at this meeting today. Mr. Friedman testified in great detail as to where the property, where the system was to be located, where the wetlands were located. Totally gave us a pretty good background on explaining what was going to happen there. All right. We had two other people speak. We had Ann Farnsworth, who is an abutter. Okay, and John Bissett, and excuse me, Mr. Bissett's wife as well. I can't remember her first name. All right. They had concerns. Okay. We have attempted, or Mr. Kenyon and Mr. Friedman have attempted to address their concerns. All right. This property is a small lot, 6,050 square feet. They want to build a 28 by 32 foot square foot footprint house, okay, with 2 bedrooms. They have an OWTS system approved by Rhode Island DEM, okay. They're asking that we give them a special use permit under 504.1, okay. I believe from all the testimony, okay, that they have fulfilled their burden, okay, in stating that the special use permit is specifically authorized by ordinance, okay. That secondly, it meets all the criteria as set forth in our ordinance, okay. And third, that it will not, the system itself will not, okay, alter the general character of the surrounding area. We have a favorable opinion from the Conservation Commission, okay? They have told us that and in that Conservation Commission, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 conditions, okay? They didn't quite refer to them as conditions. They said concerns, but I'll refer to them as conditions, okay? They are okay with all of them except for that one that is labeled F, okay? And that one specifically states that they will have a slab foundation. The engineer testified that a slab foundation or a foundation with a crawl space or a full foundation will not affect the wetlands. So with regard to letter F, okay, that will not be part of my motion, okay? See, I want to make specific reference to the map, okay? It's American Engineering, Inc. Daniel R. Cotta, 400 South County Trail Suite A, 201, all right? And it is dated, you can find a date here somewhere. God, it's dated 11/13/2020. Okay, it's actually the soil erosion runoff and sedimentation control plan for Gashi Dowell Letsashi. Okay, located at 60 feet north of pole number 5, Bone Arrow Trail in South Kingston, Rhode Island. Okay, I see no public purpose for not granting, okay, this application, and therefore I ask that pursuant to section 907A2 of our ordinance, okay, that this petition be granted. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion is made by Mr. Jurzak. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Daniels. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none. Mr. Jurzak.
Aye.
Mr. Daniels.
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik.
Aye.
And then Mr. Rosen.
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta. Aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Great. Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Okay, next, we're going to hear the petition of Maureen Morse of 28 Westview Drive, Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879, for a dimensional variance under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to construct a 10-foot by 14-foot shed within the front yard and side yard setback. The shed will be located 5 feet from the property line. The required front yard setback is 40 feet. A relief of 35 feet is requested. The shed will also be located 3 feet from the side property line. The required setback is 6 feet. Relief of 3 feet is required. The lot size is 0.27 acres. Dimensional variance is required per the zoning ordinance section 208, non-conforming lots of record, accessory building setbacks requirements. Section 503.1, accessory structures, and section 907 are standards of relief. The owner of the property is Maureen A. Morse for premises located at 28 Westview Drive, South Kingstown, Assessor's Map 90-1, Lot 89, and is zoned R30. And for the documents, we have the application signed and dated February 16th, 2021. Owner authorization form notarized and dated February 16th, 2021. Site plan prepared by Anderson Engineering and dated September 2000 or April 2006 of 3 pages, and the shed detail of 1 page. 200-foot radius map, the butters list, legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and notarized affidavit of mailing. And a correspondence from David and Donna Bennett, 34 Westview Drive, dated April 8th. Jared and Bette Aronson of 10 Carpenter Drive, dated April 11th. Antonio and Diane Fonseca, 21 Westview Drive, dated April 18th, all of this year. Who is here for this petition?
Hi, this is Maureen Morse.
Maureen, good evening.
Good
Could you
evening.
please spell your name?
Maureen, and the last name is Morse, Morse.
And do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. So please tell us why you'd like a shed in such a spot.
Okay. So forgive me, I'm acting as my own applicant, attorney, expert, right? So, and this is a little bit new for me in terms of the space, so I may not use all the correct language, but I'll do my best, okay?
Well, just tell us what you want to do, and if we see
Yeah.
any need for questions, we'll certainly ask.
Super. Okay, great. What I am hoping to do is build a 10 by 14 foot shed in the northeast corner of my property. And that is where the right and front boundary of my property connect. And it is going to be, if approved, a Tough shed, that's the brand, purchased through Home Depot, and it will not be a permanent structure. It will not have a concrete foundation, but it's simply on gravel and sand and likely some cinder blocks. And as mentioned, I'm requesting this relief from both the right boundary and the front boundary. And it's basically due to, and I've really tried to be concise here, what I consider to be 4 unique characteristics of my property. Number one, if you've been able to look at the visuals of how my home is set on this property, it's uniquely positioned in that the front of my house does not face the front property line nor the street. It actually faces the left, so it's tipped. So while it may seem odd that I'm looking to place the shed so close to the front boundary, that northeast corner, while it's technically my front yard, it really acts as a side yard for me, just given the positioning of my house. And I think it's also worth noting that there's a significant tree line along the front of my property, as well as a 10-foot high wooden fence along my technical front yard, and any structure that might reside within it is not visible to anybody because of this tree line and because of this 10-foot high fence. So it's kind of not your typical front yard. And while this isn't the most important characteristic about my property that I wanted to share, I think it helps you understand why in the world I'd be looking to put a shed, within 5 feet of my front boundary. So that's number one. Number two, there is a significant downward slope of my full lot. The property is on the back side of the hill at Green Hill. And if you are familiar with this geography in any way, if anyone has gone down Green Hill Beach Road and made a left onto Carpenter, you immediately go up a pretty steep incline. And that incline literally mirrors my property. That's where my home resides. And so with the exception of that northeast corner where I'm proposing this shed being built, the incline really creates a grade that's too steep to accommodate a shed. The only true flat piece of my yard that would be suitable for this kind of structure is along that front border and that right border. So that's item number 2. Number 3 is that due to that steep grade, my property suffers from a fairly significant rainwater drainage issue. The lower half of my yard captures most of this drainage, and it prevents the lower half of the yard from being a viable foundation for a wooden shed structure. In case in point, there is a shed that was built by the previous owner at the back northern west corner of my property. It's been there forever, and it is fairly damaged by rainwater. There's a fair amount of wood rot and leakage in that shed, which is obviously not a pattern that I would want to repeat. And then in addition to just the general drainage, there is a targeted stream of rainwater that runs from the hill above me, comes kind of through my driveway, through the front yard and down the right side. And in every rain, that's the pattern of the water. And so thus what I'm attempting to do by placing this shed in that tight northeast corner is it's to get as away as possible from that stream and put it on the highest and most flat ground of my property. And then the 4th item and last item is that my septic system and the associated leach field runs along the right side of my property and in essentially a good part of the backyard. There's also a large rock retaining wall along the bottom edge of my backyard. So in addition to these other factors that I've mentioned, the septic system and where it sits and the associated leach field make those areas not viable for a foundation for a shed either. So given these 4 reasons, I believe there's no other reasonable alternative in terms of where I could place the shed. So in closing, and some of this is sort of slightly more official language, but this hardship is not the result of any prior action on my part, nor does it result from a desire to realize greater financial gain. And it is, in my opinion, the least relief necessary to avoid the water drainage and the steep grade of my lot. And I strongly believe it will not alter the general characteristics of the surrounding area, nor the residential aesthetics of the neighborhood, which are very important to me. And then lastly, you've noted I've received, I think, no objections unless somebody pipes up on this call. And I've got the support of 3 neighbors, all of whom actually directly abut my property, one on the right side, one on the back side, and then one directly across the street, which is super. So I'm very happy and appreciate that support. So
that was going to be my question. Who is above, right next to that? Which neighbor?
Yeah, the neighbor that would abut the right boundary of my property, which is really where the shed would sit on the other side of that 10-foot fence, is David Bennett.
Bennett, okay. But you said everybody is pretty much surrounding you, Aronson and
yeah, Jared Aronson is directly behind me, and Tony Fonseca is directly across the street.
And yes, we read those into the record that there were those 3 supporting. Well, I could be fooled. It seems like you've done this before. So board members, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I'm Rick Cherzak. I have one question, maybe 2. do you, Ms. Morris, you say Mr. Bennett lives next door. Where is his driveway? It's not going to block the sight line for him coming out of his driveway, is it, in any way?
No, no, his driveway is right there. I will tell you, it is, you're right. It's to the, it's right on the other side of that fence,
Okay.
but
so
that's a
when he-
10-foot high fence.
It's a 10-foot high. Is it a solid fence now?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
And
are
that
you
was
gonna-
there when I moved in.
Okay. Are you going to take down the other shed or is that going to stay?
That shed's gonna stay because it houses my lawn furniture and my, lawnmower. And this shed is actually going to be a workspace for me.
Okay. What does that mean, a workspace?
Like, like for just home projects and for, just almost like a little workshop, a workshop for me.
You're
And
gonna-
some limited storage.
You're going to have electricity in there?
I might.
Okay. Yep. That's it, Mr. King. That's it from me.
All right. Any other board members, questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
just-
Mr.
I guess my question would be for the building official that I'm looking at the description of the 10 by 14 shed. And I'm just wondering if hurricane straps are required in the interest of safety here. Because I don't see it on the spec.
That's correct, Vice Chair. There is a requirement, state building code requiring at least 2 anchor hold downs for the shed if it's under 200 square feet. In this case, it is 140. So that will be required and we will confirm if approved.
So I guess my question for the applicant would be, do you know if that's doable with that style of shed? Can they do that?
Yeah, it was actually an option that I could choose. Tough Shed allows you basically a menu, right, of features. And I absolutely recall that as one of them. And I didn't choose it, but I absolutely can.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we don't want any houses flying away like in Kansas.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, I
No,
think
no,
that's
no, when-
the key is making sure that you're not going to be on bedrock because you need a different attachment system. But it's just knowing that when the building inspector looks at it, they're going to require, they're going to be looking for that attachment system to be present. So, and whoever's installing it should know that, but
Okay,
it's not really unique to South Kingstown, I don't believe.
okay, super.
Any other board members, questions?
Yeah, I guess I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Rosen.
Ms. Morse, correct?
Morse, yes.
You said you're going to be using that as a workspace. Other than electricity, you're going to put anything else into that shed?
No.
Systems wise.
Do you mean like plumbing or water or anything like
Right,
that?
right.
No.
Okay, so it's by definition, it's actually going to be a shed.
Yes.
Oh,
But just a really nice one.
Excellent. Anyone else, questions?
that's it for me.
I have a question. If does the addition of the hurricane ties, that probably requires some posts to be, dug or something, right? Or no?
It's a screw, basically.
Okay.
It's a big corkscrew.
That's all I had.
Okay, any other board members, questions? Okay, Ms. Morse, do you have anything else to add before we open it up to see if anyone has any objections or concerns?
I do not. I just appreciate your consideration.
Absolutely. Jessica, is there anyone out there that would like to make themselves known?
Again, if anyone has a question, if you can raise your hand. I don't believe anyone's calling in by phone, but it's *9 to raise hand, *6 to mute and unmute. No one has raised their hand.
Okay. Any thoughts on this, board members, or someone like to make a motion? Perhaps?
I'll do it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels.
Motion to approve the petition of Maureen Morse, 28 Westview Drive, Wakefield, for a dimensional variance. The application was read into the record by the chairman. The site plan is included, and 3 letters of support for the petition are also included. The applicant is seeking a relief of 35 feet from the front yard setback and a relief of 3 feet from the other side yard setback. She's also requesting a relief from section 503.1 of the ordinance, which allows by variance shed in the front yard. And due to the uniqueness of the way her home is located, it could be construed that this is really a side yard of sorts. But anyway, she does require the relief on the front yard for the shed. The applicant has testified that due to the unique nature of the property with regard to water and runoff and the terrain, that the only reasonable place for the shed is in this location. It should be noted that there is a tall fence and shrubbery and whatnot that will basically hide the shed from any neighbors or from view from the road. And as I mentioned, she does have 3 letters of support, including a letter from the adjacent landowner. The board finds that the hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land, which I just mentioned, and not to the general characteristics of the surrounding area. And the board finds that based on the testimony of the applicant is not the result of any prior action. The applicant simply wishes to have a shed, use it as a workspace, and use it for additional storage on her property. The board finds that the granting of the requested variance will not alter the general characteristic of the surrounding area. Once again, because it is well hidden, if you will, behind a fence and behind some vegetation. The board finds that the relief to be granted is the least relief necessary. In the rear of the property is the septic system and the leaching field associated with that system, so that is not a reasonable place to place the shed. And due to the terrain that I mentioned earlier, and to the water that's present on the property during a rainstorm and whatnot, the only reasonable alternative is to place the shed where she has located it on the site plan. I should note that the applicant has agreed to modify the structure plan so that she will comply with the requirement for the hurricane tie downs. And that will be necessary in order for her to go ahead with a building permit. The board finds that the hardship suffered by the owner if this variance is not granted amounts to more than a mere inconvenience, because once again, it's the only reasonable, logical location for her to achieve what she wishes to achieve with the enhancement of her property. And with that, I move passage.
Excellent. The motion was made by Mr. Daniels. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jurzak. Any other discussion? Mr. Daniels.
Aye.
Mr. Jurzak.
Aye.
Mr. Rosen.
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik.
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta. Aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Super. Thank you very much.
No problem. Enjoy the shed.
Thank you.
Okay. So next we have the petition of Benjamin Martish of 680 Moonstone Beach Road in Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879, for a dimensional variance under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to construct a new 26-foot by 36-foot detached garage. The building height of the garage will be 23 feet. The maximum height allowed for the accessory structure is 20 feet. Relief of 3 feet is requested. Lot size is 1.86 acres. The dimensional variance is required per zoning ordinance, section 401, schedule dimensional regulations, section 907, standards of relief. The owner of the property is Benjamin J. Martish and Jacqueline Altieri for a premises located at 680 Moonstone Beach Road, South Kingstown. Assessors map 85-2, lot 16, and is zoned R80. For documents, we have the application signed and dated March 15th, 2021. The owner authorization form notarized and dated March 15th. Section A cross-section, sheet 5, prepared by SM Name Acter PE and dated January 18th, 2021. Site plan 1 page, prepared by Dupree Engineering and dated March 16, 2021. 200-foot radius map, the abutters list, legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and notarized affidavit of mailing. We have 3 correspondences, one from David and Lisa Neal of 620 Moonstone Beach Road, which is dated April 7th. John D. Agostino of 697 Moonstone Beach Road, dated April 8th. Charles Bose of 728 Moonstone Beach Road, dated April 17th, all of 2021. And we are here just for the 3 feet of height. So who is here tonight for this application?
Ben Martish of
Ben.
6 Moonstone Beach Road.
Okay. And Ben, could you please spell your name?
Yes, Benjamin, Benjamin, Martish, Martish.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Anyone else going to speak on for you, or is it just you, pretty much?
Just me. I do have David Russo with Dupree Engineering joining me if there are any further questions outside of what I can explain myself.
Well, why don't you tell us what you want to do?
Okay, so right now I currently have no storage, no shed, no barn for any equipment on my property. I'm requesting 3 feet relief to build this structure so that I'm able to store farm equipment in this barn. And the height is needed to be able to successfully do that. We do have the direct abutters who do support this. The area where we would be building this is an area which is already cleared, an area which we would not have to remove any trees or foliage. It is a grass area. It does meet setback requirements from the road. Following this, we would need to get approval from Coastal Resources to build this structure. So they would need to review all plans as well. And again, a hardship for this is that I do not have any storage structure, and this is needed to be able to do that.
So for the height, tell me again. So is it the fact that you have 10.5 feet for your first floor? Is that kind of what's kind of making it?
Correct. That is correct.
And 10.5 feet is a couple feet typically higher than most garages, right?
Yes, that's correct.
What kind of equipment are you going to keep in there? Like
We have a tractor and a truck.
Okay, so these aren't your average vehicles. You're working the land, using the land.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Is the building itself mimicking anything architecturally on the property?
Yes, it would be looking similar to the house that we have built there already.
Okay. So board members, any other questions or any questions, period?
Rick Jurzak here. Mr. Martish, how high is the house?
I do believe the house is 20.
Yeah, how high is that? You're breaking up.
28 feet high.
28 feet high. Okay, so it'd be reasonable to say that this is not a 23-foot structure is gonna blend right in with that. I mean, if you got a house next door that's 28, 23 is not going to be outrageously high for the area, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. What's upstairs in that garage you want to build?
It'd be a storage space.
Okay. And is there a full dormer on the back?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Do you, are there going to be windows up there in the dormer?
Yes, there will be windows.
Okay, how about plumbing and whatever?
No plumbing, no.
No plumbing, but there will be electricity, I assume.
Correct, there will be electricity.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board members' questions for Mr. Martish?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Mr. Rosen?
Mr. Martish, is that correct, how you pronounce it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Martish, the garage is going to go to the left side of the house, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you, in the site map, you have an area that is blocked off by a rather unusual polygon of some sort. What's in that? Is that the wetlands?
That's an isolated wetland.
Is right, and it's going to be right next to the garage. So the rest of the property is not wetlands.
That's correct.
Okay. And the driveway goes to the garage. Okay. That's the only questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other board members, questions for Mr. Martish? Martish? Nope. Okay, and as noted by the applicant, we have 3 correspondences, all in support. Is there anyone out there, Jessica, that seeks to speak on behalf or for or against?
No one has raised their hand.
Anyone else have any other questions for the applicant or discussions or motions? If it's that easy.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Rosen.
Let's see. The motion by Mr. Benjamin Martish, I'm sorry, the motion made by me is to approve the petition as described by the chairman prior to the discussion here. One individual spoke on behalf of the petition, which is to get 3 feet of height over the garage that he proposes to build, and that is Mr. Benjamin Martish himself. There are 3 letters of correspondence to support this petition from abutting neighbors, but none of them spoke tonight. The chairman has listed the material that has come into the committee for consideration. To keep this short and sweet, I'll say the board finds that the special, no, that's the wrong one. This is a dimensional, right? The board finds that the hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is due to the unique characteristics of the septic plan and the structure that he wants to put in there, and not the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and is not due to the physical or economic disability of the applicant, accepting those physical disabilities as stressed in 45-24-30 paren 16, because the garage that he wants to put in, he needs to store his work for carrying out the farming activities associated. He wants to put a tractor and a truck in there. He also wants to have storage area. The garage is going to be slightly higher, mainly because of the first floor where the tractor and the truck have to reside. The board finds that the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant, and does not result primarily from the desire of the applicant to realize greater financial gain. He just wants to carry out his chosen profession as a, well, it may not be his profession, but he wants to do some farming on the property. And he needs a tractor and he needs a truck to carry out those functions. The board finds that the granting of the requested variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan upon which the ordinance is based. I went out there and visited the place, and it's definitely a farming area, that's for sure. There's lots of room to look over the area. The garage being 3 feet higher is not going to alter the characteristics of the area itself. There's plenty of space for it to go in. The board finds that the relief to be granted is the least relief necessary, simply because the placement of the garage is going to be right next to the house and in between a wetlands area. And he can't go into that wetlands area, but the back of the property is mainly confined to what I presume is the farming activities that he wants to carry out. The board finds that the hardship suffered by the owner of the subject property, if the dimensional variance is not granted, amounts to more than a mere inconvenience, simply because he needs that garage to carry out the plans that he has for that particular property. And as a result, I move approval of the petition.
Motion is made by Mr. Rosen. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jurzak. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Rosen,
Aye.
Mr. Jurzak,
Aye.
Mr. Daniels,
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik,
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm not reading this of the different name, but it's just happens to be very similar. This is the petition of Kathleen Keegan of 230 Walden Way of Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879 for a dimensional variance under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to construct a new 28-foot by 42-foot detached garage. The building height of the garage will be 23 feet 6 inches. The maximum height allowed at the accessory structure is 20 feet. Relief of 3 foot 6 inches is requested for a lot size of 8.57 acres. Dimensional variance is required per the zoning ordinance section 401, schedule of dimensional regulations, section 907, standards of relief. The owner of the property is Patrick F. Jr. and Kathleen Keegan for premises located at 230 Walden Way, South Kingstown, assessors map 84-2, lot 9, and is zoned R200. And of this application, we have the application signed and dated March 14th, the owner authorization form notarized and dated March 14th, the preliminary plan and proposed alteration plan, page 1 of 2, prepared by MDR Engineering, Michael DeRossi, the engineer, and dated February 2021. Documents showing existing garage location, construction documents, which is the cover page, S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7, S8, and S10, prepared by The Barnyard and Great Country Garages dated January 18th of this year, and 200-foot radius map, a butters list, legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and notarized affidavit of mailing. Who's here tonight for this application?
Hi, Kathleen Keegan, K-A-T-H-L-E-E-N. Keegan is K-E-E-G-A-N. And my husband, Patrick.
Patrick Keegan, P-A-T-R-I-C-K. Keegan, same spelling, K-E-E-G-A-N.
Okay, and both of you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
We do.
I do.
Okay, well, try not to make it sound too much like the last one, but what would you guys like to do?
Well, thank you. Yeah, we are seeking a dimensional height variance for 3.5 feet for a 3.5 car detached garage to be placed in close proximity to our existing home. It meets all the other setback requirements. The use will be for vehicle parking and storage. We have a very large, almost 9-acre property, and I already have 2 pieces of equipment, and soon we'll be adding a third, which I'm looking for storage for. And we also want to use the upstairs unfinished area for storage as well. I don't have the exact measurements, but I want to answer the question Mr. Jurzak asked the last applicant. This will be, there is a home on the property and a detached horse barn. the height on the proposed height on the proposed garage will be the lowest structure of the three on the property. We're also very conscious of the aesthetics of the building. It is a very nice farm property, and we're really careful to pick a structure and a building that we thought really captures kind of the charm of the area. And part of that is, there's a picture of it on, I believe, the front page of the plans that gives a sense of what it would look like. So resembles probably a barn structure as much as a garage. And again, the purpose there is twofold. It really is for the additional storage that we get with the height, but also to make sure that the building blends with the character of the area. So happy to answer any questions that the board members may have.
Is there any services besides electricity in this building?
It will just be electric.
Just electricity?
Yep.
Just its use is inconsequential, but I mean, it's going to be mainly for storage and then vehicle storage.
Yeah, correct. Sorry, vehicle storage, and then, miscellaneous storage up top.
Board members, any questions for the applicants?
Yeah, I have one question, Rick Cherzak. I'm not sure if when I went out there, I didn't know what direction I was looking at, but in this plan, proposed alteration plan, the proposed garage is on the right. Are you building it on the right or on the left?
On the right. If you were out there and saw, did you see construction on the left?
Yeah, Oh, so that's not it?
So that's not it. No, the garage isn't built. We haven't built it without permission.
Okay, it's a very nice garage. Who's building that one?
Yeah, so that's the existing horse barn that Sweeney Builders is in the process of renovating for us. They've gone through the permit and approval process and have proceeded accordingly, but that's an old horse barn structure that's in a pretty dilapidated state that we've got the Sweeney Building Company renovating and bringing back to life for us. That will not be used as a garage.
And they're doing a nice job. Looks terrific. So, but okay, that's really my only question.
Yeah, thanks. We do have, and it is part of a plan. And so if you saw the property, it is a very nice property, and we're trying to kind of restore it piece by piece. And this is a big part of it, to make sure that we actually have storage and a place to park things inside, as opposed to, kind of leaving them just randomly parked outside in the property.
You said you have equipment. What kind of equipment are you going to park in there? What?
So I've got a side-by-side right now, and I have a very large lawn cutting lawnmower with attachments, to cover the 9 acres. And I won't do it till I get the garage, but I will be buying a small farm tractor, either a Coyote or a Kubota. I haven't quite decided yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other board members, questions for the applicants? No.
Mr. Jerzak took away my questions.
I took it. I'm sorry, Mr. Rosen. It was a good question, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Very good one. Yeah.
I saw that over there.
I sat out there for quite a while saying, man, am I reading this wrong? Look at this.
Oh, you should have knocked on the door.
Well, we're not supposed to do that.
Oh, sorry. Well, you could have come on the property and walked around.
Yeah, no,
it's nice to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you folks have anything to add to it before we open it up and see if anyone has any comments?
No, nothing further from us.
Okay. Jessica, is there anyone out there that wishes to speak on behalf of this petition?
No one has raised their hand.
Okay. Board members, any thoughts, concerns, questions, discussion?
Seems fine to me.
Okay. Does anyone have any interest in letting them build a barn?
I'll make a motion. How's that? Rick Cherzak. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the petition of Kathleen and Patrick Keegan. Okay. This is with regards to property located at 230 Walden Way, South Kingstown, Rhode Island, Assessor's Map 84-2, Lot 9. Okay. The Keegans testified today. They told us what they wanted to do. They explained their plans. They explained what they wanted. All they want to do is they want to build a 28 by 42 detached garage, okay? The problem is that the height limitation for such a structure, I guess since it's not hooked to the house, is 20 feet. And they would like to go a small amount higher to 23 feet 6 inches. Okay, so relief of 3 feet 6 inches is requested. It's a very large lot. Okay, lot is 8.57 acres. It's very rural in nature. Okay, they told us that they wanted to make sure that the property that the new garage fit in with the aesthetics of the current property. Okay, there will be three buildings on the premises, and this garage will be the lowest of the 3 buildings, so it's certainly going to fit into the property. Okay, with regard to well, before I forget, I want to make part of the motion, okay, their proposed plan of alteration, okay, which is dated February 2021, okay, which shows the location of the proposed garage, as well as all the plans, building plans from the barnyard, okay, which set out what the structure will look like, okay? This is a request for a dimensional variance, okay? Their hardship is that due to the very nature of the structures already on the premises, okay, it is necessary to build it higher for it to fit in, okay, to make it aesthetically pleasing, okay? And they need the additional space for storage area, all right? They're going to keep some equipment in there as well, all right? Certainly, this is the hardship is not the result of any prior action on their part. Okay, they could have done nothing to brought this situation apart. Okay, it will not alter the general character of the surrounding area. For that matter, it will enhance the general character of the surrounding area because it will be aesthetically pleasing and blend in well with the existing use of the premises. Okay. It is clear the least relief necessary. They're only asking for 3 feet 6 inches, okay? And if it is not granted, okay, it will result in more than a mere inconvenience because they will not be able to build a garage that is aesthetically pleasing and will not have enough storage space for them, okay? I see no reason not to grant this motion. There is no public purpose that would lead us to believe that we should not grant this motion. And I ask that under 907A1, okay, that this motion be granted. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent, Mr. Jurzak. Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Uh-oh. Second by Mr. Rosen. Can I, any other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Jurzak?
Aye.
Mr. Rosen?
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik?
Aye.
Mr. Daniels?
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta? Aye. Motion passes. Good luck. Enjoy.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Okay, this might happen. The petition of Wilfred Hernandez of 375 William Reynolds Road, Exeter, Rhode Island, 02822 for a special use permit under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to relocate an existing 7-foot by 16-foot attached deck and construct an 8-foot by 16-foot addition to their seasonal cottage. The applicant is allowed an increase of 128 square feet of living area to the cottage, as it does not exceed 50% of the total gross living floor area. The proposed addition will be no closer to any of the neighboring cottages. The lot size is 50.2 acres. Special use permit is required per the zoning ordinance section 608.7. Changes to the coastal community structures allowed by the zoning board, and section 907 are standards of relief. The owner of the cottage is Wilfred and Ellen S. Hernandez on property owned by Matunic Beach Properties, located at 240 Cards Pond Road, South Kingstown, assessors map 92-1, lot 9-250, and is zoned R200. And for this application, we have the application signed and dated March 2nd, 2021. Owner authorization form notarized and dated March 13th. The existing site plan, proposed site plan, elevation views, floor plans, footing plan, and general notes. 200-foot radius map, the abutters list, the legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and notarized affidavit of mailing. And who's here tonight for this application?
I am, sir. My name is Wilfred Hernandez, spelled WILFRED
Mr. Hernandez, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. Tell us what you'd like to do, sir.
All right. A little nervous, first time, but
It's okay.
basically, thank you. My wife and I bought a small cottage in Roy Carpenter's Beach. It's 16 by 16. And basically it has a small little 7 by 16 wooden deck that kind of sits on the ground on stone. So what we are proposing to do is take that wooden deck that's there now and move it out 8 feet. And then between the relocated deck and the existing house, build an 8-foot by 16 addition. Basically, if you look at the site plan and the proposed, by doing so, we will not affect any of the abutters distance to the east or to the west, which will remain at 18.5 and 21 feet, nor to the rear of the cottage. The rear of the cottage, it will still remain at 16.8 feet. Basically, what we're going to be doing is kicking everything forward. So the deck, instead of being 12.7 feet, it will now be 4.7 feet. By doing this, the deck now aligns with the deck to the left and a cottage to the left, and several other cottages and decks to the right, to the east and the west. Again, we won't be abutting any other properties, so we won't need any relief from dimensional relief required. So again, pretty much that sums it all. We're gonna put the addition on 12-inch piles as shown on the plans. And that's about it.
Okay. No, you did great. Okay, board members, do you have any questions for Mr. Hernandez?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Fernandez, it's going to be just one floor, right? There's no second floor?
No second floor, just one level straight across, sir.
Okay, and nothing up there that's a sleeping area up above, nothing like that, right? No. Okay.
No, it's open rafters.
Just one level. Okay. All right, that's my only question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Seems pretty straightforward, but any other questions from any of the board members?
Tom Daniels, it looks like, Mr. Hernandez, that Krista Sisson is the owner of the property and has agreed that there's no issue with this. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? No? Okay, Jessica, is there anyone out there that has any concerns or questions about this one?
No one has raised their hand.
Okay. Well, Mr. Hernandez, it seems like you did a really good job. There's nobody's.
Well, thank you so much.
No, you really hit all the criteria. You're not getting any closer to any of the adjacent cottages. You're not reducing the amount of fire safety access. You're maintaining a distance in the front that's consistent with the neighbors. So you hit all the marks, and you're under the 50% increase. So yeah, you've knocked them all out of the park. So
thank you.
Is there anyone that would like to make a motion or?
Yeah, I'll do it, Mr. Chairman.
Go for it.
Motion to approve the petition of Wilfred Hernandez, excuse me, of Exeter, Rhode Island, for property located at 240 Cards Pond Road and further identified by cottage 3W11. A special use permit is required under 608.7 changes to the coastal community district, and the applicant is seeking to increase the living area by 128 square feet, and that is in compliance with the 50% of total gross living floor area that is allowed. He is adding an 8x16 addition and moving an existing 7x16 deck forward to the southerly side of the property. He will not increase the distance between the easterly or the westerly cottages identified as 3W12 and 3W10 on the site map. The chairman identified the site plan and all the documents that were submitted in support of the application. There was no opposition to the request, and Mr. Hernandez did an excellent job in describing what he wants to do with the expansion of his cottage. The board finds that the special use is specifically authorized by the ordinance because section 608.7 allows changes to the coastal community structures when allowed by the zoning board. The board finds that special use meets all the criteria set forth in a subsection of this ordinance authorizing such special use because 50% increase, which in this case amounts to 128 square feet of living space, is specifically authorized by the ordinance when granted a special use permit by this board. Board finds that the granting of the special use permit will not alter the general character of the surrounding area. In fact, it will balance to some degree the front of the property on the southerly side and bring it into the same dimensions as some of the existing cottages along that particular stretch of road. Ingress and egress is not an issue. Nothing will be changed with regard to parking area or ingress and egress to the lot. There is no requirement for off-street parking or living areas under this special use permit. There is no requirement to make any changes to trash and storage or delivery areas. Utilities will remain the same. There is no screening or buffering that is required. There will be no signs or exterior lighting, and there will be no additional required open space or required yards to be maintained. This is certainly it is compatible with the lots in the same zoning district because once again, this is a coastal community special district requiring special use permit for these kinds of additions. And with that, there are no conditions to be attached to this approval. And with that, I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Charkowik, second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Daniels.
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik.
Aye.
Mr. Jurzak. Mr. Rosen.
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you so very much. Good evening to everyone.
Thank you very much. To you too. Okay. Lastly, we have the petition of Joshua and Stephanie Hanson of 40 East Gardner Road, Westminster, Mass. 01473 for a special use permit under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to remove their seasonal structure and replace it with a recreational vehicle. The existing gross living floor area is 320 square feet. The proposed area consists of 378.5 square feet, which does not exceed a 50% increase from the existing total gross living area, floor area. The RV will be relocated to balance the separation between the structures. The lot size is 1.3 acres. The special use permit is required per the zoning ordinance section 608.7, changes to coastal community structures allowed by the zoning board. Section 608.9, general standards for changes to coastal community structures, and section 907, which is our standard of relief. The owners of the structure, site number 13 is Joshua and Stephanie Hansen on property owned by Blackbeard Homeowners Association, care of Julie Ludick, located at 836 Matunic Beach Road, South Kingstown. Assessors map 92-2, lot 54-13, and is zoned CN, which is a commercial neighborhood. And for this petition, we have the application signed and dated March 15th, the owner authorization form notarized and dated March 23rd and March 18, 2021. The current and proposed site plan, floor plan of park model trailer, Blackbeard site plan, photo of a new trailer, of the new trailer with the exterior dimensions. We have 23 photographs showing existing conditions on the site. We have a 200-foot radius map, a butters list, legal notice, proof of certified mailings, and a notarized affidavit of mailing. So who do we have here tonight for this application?
Stephanie and Joshua Hansen.
Okay, Stephanie and Joshua, can you guys spell your names for us, please?
Yes, Stephanie is Stephanie, Hansen, Hanssen.
And it's Joshua, Joshua, and Hansen, Hanssen.
And do you both swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
We do.
I do, sir.
Okay, so who would like to tell us what you guys would like to do?
I will. So we're looking to remove the current trailer that's there and dilapidated and replace it with another trailer. We will be creating more space on one side and keeping the existing space on the other side. And the current trailer that's there is actually crooked now. So of course, the new one that we're proposing would be put in straight. No utilities or anything have to be removed. Our hardship is that it is currently unlivable. The Blackbeard's Homeowners Association's board, they all voted yes unanimously. It is also an eyesore, and what we would be replacing it with would be aesthetically pleasing also. And the one that we're looking to put in is also, there's many like them within the park.
So I'm sorry, I have to ask, is it really a 65-year-old trailer?
Yes.
It is dilapidated. I put my foot through the floor.
His foot went through the floor.
Yeah,
I mean-
I barely fit in it, so it's very.
Sure, it's not on the National Register, right? It's not a historic site.
It's in rough shape, sir.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh wow, look at that bugger. Okay, so you're not getting any bigger than the existing footprint?
No, if I think it would be like 15% bigger.
So it's bigger in footprint. So where is that getting closer to when you're getting bigger?
It would be longer.
Okay.
But we would still be 16 feet off the road. Between where we're unit 13 and unit 14, I believe it's currently 3 to 5 feet because the trailer is crooked as it's put in, and we'll be creating roughly 9.5 feet on that side versus the 3/5 feet. And then on the other side, there's 8 feet, which we'll be keeping.
And I mean, what's just walking around the park? What is the average? Is that like the average width and distance between trailers that anywhere between 5 feet and 8 feet, somewhere around there?
We're actually the 8 feet is a lot compared to most trailers. If you walk around there, it's more like the 3 to 5 feet. And then we have, which is actually there now, like I said, on one side, but we'd be creating 9 feet. And then on the other side is 8 feet. And on a lot of the trailers that are down there, you know, they have 3 to 5 feet on both sides.
Right. So, so I'm sorry, you're 13.
Yes.
14 is a little crooked, like you said, but that's, I mean, it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, other board members, you guys have questions? Folks have questions for the applicants?
Just Rick Jerzak, just really one quick one. I assume you hook into some type of septic system there? Is that what happens? Or do you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay, so it just goes into that. All right.
yes.
I visited the site, and just for board members who did not, I will tell you, this will be a massive improvement. From what the new additions that they're putting in there are very nice. And I think it's gonna look great. I think it's terrific. I certainly think it will not hurt the general character of the area. So.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm surprised you guys aren't showered with approvals from your neighbors.
Well, I think that they do. I think that they seriously want that thing out of there also. So, because we have heard, rumor has it that they want it out. So.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Any other board members, questions for these applicants? No? Jessica, is there anyone else out there?
There's people here, but no one has raised their hand.
Okay. All right. Board members, any other thoughts, discussions, or motions?
I didn't visit the site. I didn't get a chance to visit the site, but from the pictures you showed, it needs improvement.
Yeah, it does. That's an understatement.
Well, I think generally the whole area is being improved. Walking around there are many new units. I think it's going to be, in the long run, it will really be a very nice area, to be honest with you. And it's certainly a great location. Can't go wrong.
Yes,
You
for sure.
go across the ocean mist all you want, not have a
Yeah.
parking problem.
We absolutely got lucky.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, if you want.
Please, sir.
Okay. All right. I want to make a motion to approve the petition of Joshua and Stephanie Hansen. Okay. This is in regard to property. Let's see, I got to get the right address here. Property located at 836 Matunic Beach Road, South Kingstown, Rhode Island, Assessors Map 92-2, Lot 54, Site 13. Okay. The Hansons came before us today, and they explained to us that what they want to do is demo or remove a dilapidated trailer, okay, on the site right now and replace it with a brand new, they say it's an RV, but it's I think it's manufactured housing, okay, consisting of 378.5 square feet, okay. They stated that that this will not exceed the 50% addition allowable pursuant to our ordinance, okay, in that the existing gross living floor area is 320 square feet, okay? They also stated that it will improve the fire separation between the unit to, I guess it's the east side, okay, which is presently, I think, between it's on an angle, so it's between 3 and 5 feet, okay, and the new unit will be located approximately 8 feet, I believe. No, excuse me, 9.5 feet from that unit. All right. They are asking that we approve this petition pursuant to section 6087, okay, and 907A2. Okay, they're asking for a special use permit to allow this. All right. For the record, okay, 907A requires that this special use permit is specifically authorized by ordinance, and it clearly is. If you looked at our ordinance, all right, it meets all criteria as set forth in that ordinance, okay, and it will clearly improve the general character of the area, okay, 100% from a standpoint of what's there right now. It will also make it safety for fire purposes, all right. I would like to make part of this motion, okay. There are various in their application. They have given us a proposed site plan, okay, showing the location, okay? They've given us a drawing setting out what the new unit looks like, okay? And they've given us many pictures setting forth what's there now and what will be, in that they showed us some units that have been improved already, okay? I see no reason, no public purpose to not have us grant this motion, and therefore I ask the board to grant the motion.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Jurzak. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Daniels. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jurzak.
Aye.
Mr. Daniels.
Aye.
Mr. Rosen.
Aye.
Mr. Charkowik.
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We just
you.
had one quick question with the, can we get approved now to do the demo?
Oh my good Lord. Oh, where'd it go?
The-
Sorry.
Jane, go ahead.
Yeah,
We did submit our permit.
I'll approve that for you right now if you'd like. The demolition
yes.
permit.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. We appreciate
You
everybody's time. Thank you.
You can do it tonight.
Yeah,
Break out the hammer.
I would love to.
I don't think you need much to get that done.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, absolutely not. Thank you very much, everyone.
Excellent. No problem. No problem.
Great.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
So Ms. Walsh, you think you'll make it another one? Oh, hang on, turn yourself.
I'm pretty impressed by all of the members and their comments. It's going to take probably 8 to 10 months for me to catch up. Maybe years, I don't know.
We're
But
still catching up.
I need
Just so
to
you know-
start. Somebody has a cheat sheet with the ordinances, I hope.
Susan, I'll contact you soon. We'll set up a little training session.
Oh, that virtual, or I want to see other people. I'm tired of Zooming.
Oh.
But I do have to say, I am going to be out of town. Amy, I could come next week, but then I have a long planned vacation to see my grandchildren. So,
Very
but I
much
can
looking
zoom
forward
in,
to that.
no problem.
Yeah, at your convenience. I'll
yeah.
give you a call.
Yeah, I'll come next week, but I will, I just wanted to tell Rob, I will zoom in.
Sounds great.
So Susan, next week we won't actually have a meeting. That was just in the event we didn't get through everything tonight. And we did, which
Yeah,
is
but I'm not- I won't
first
be
time in
here
a
in
long
May.
time.
I'll be out of town in May, so that's it pre-planned, you know.
Yeah, no, this is the first time all of COVID that we've gotten through the whole agenda, so we're doing okay.
Yeah, I thought it was fabulous, and I have a lot of questions, and I'm serious, probably for Jessica and then probably for Amy.
Yeah, no,
With the cheat
ask
sheet.
away. Yeah, it's there are cheat sheets. There are ways that, and we help each other too. And you know,
Oh,
motions
I'm
don't-
really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, motions don't come
No,
out early.
And Susan, I did email you at the beginning of the meeting, the templates for the special use and the dimensional variance. But definitely give me a call tomorrow and we can make an appointment to meet at the town hall and go over, you know, what I can help you with.
I wrote those down, and then I observed the different members, you know, using what they'd seen. And I did have to ask if I could go out and look. And so next meeting, well, maybe I won't have a chance to go out and look next meeting, but the meeting after that, because that I think is very important in the impressions. I mean, it's not just the ordinance, it's kind of the impressions also, I
It's-
think, of the site.
There's a lot of nuance to this, and it's
Yeah.
It's not so much opinion, but it is opinion. You know, but it's that nuance. I
You mean
think.
it's not science, it's science, but it's also art.
Yeah, it is a lot. I mean, especially the thing that I learned most is that, you know, even though we had those two barns 6 inches away, you know, in height, they're two different things. Just because we approved the one before, it doesn't mean we approve the one after. And, you know, and so it's sort of just knowing that but you've got two great people to help you through it. So
No, I know, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in person sometime.
Hopefully soon.
Yes, yes.
Aren't we all?
I'm vaccinated. Yeah, I believe.
Good, good. Well, hopefully we all are.
But
soon.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
welcome.
you. We're very happy to have you here.
I hope you say that after I start talking.
Sure we will. Excellent. So other than that, we do have minutes from March 17th and March 24th to approve. Someone would like to make that motion?
I'll move approval.
Okay, we have approval from Mr. Rosen. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Okay, other than that, who is showing up next meeting, which is, what are we?
May 19th.
May 19th?
Mhm.
Everyone gonna be here as far as we know?
Susan,
I'll
are
be
you
here.
gonna, is Susan gonna be here?
I'm going to
Susan-
be out of town.
Unless she can zoom in and,
I'm good.
okay.
May
So-
19th is my wife's birthday.
Uh-oh.
Well, wear a hat.
But since we can't go to a restaurant yet, I will probably be here.
All right. Excellent.
Well, we
thank you
will
all.
have 5 because Susan said she can zoom in. So if you can't make it, it seems that everyone else can.
So
So
I'll plan to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
She
Excellent.
probably doesn't want
Lots
to
of
remember her birthday anyhow, so.
Flowers, lots of them, Bill, that's all.
That's
You know-
right.
You know, my birthday's May 16th, so it's pretty close. We could split the difference.
That's right.
I'll tell her that.
There you go. Excellent. Is there anything else, anyone, or are we good to go?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent, Mr. Daniels. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.
Night,
good
everyone.
night, everyone.
In a
Night.
month.
Good night.
Welcome, Susan. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Leave.